There, the mortal remains will be taken to his native town of Rameshwaram. We are taking a short break at this moment. We'll come back to these pictures in just a bit. Welcome back. Let's go back to those pictures coming in from the Palam Technical Air Base, where the mortal remains of former President Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam is about to reach any minute now. You can see that the preparations have been made. Full state honors will be given. Senior ministers of the NDA government can be seen on the screen right now. M. Venkaiah Naidu. There are other leaders also expected through the course of the day, but in Rameshwaram, where the public will be allowed to pay homage and bid a farewell to their favorite leader. Senior members of the Modi cabinet are present this morning. Shahnawaz Hussain can also be seen in these pictures. Preeti Chaudhary is still with us. Preeti, I don't know whether you have access to these pictures or not, but you know, it's as we were discussing earlier, while there is definite mourning, but there is also some degree of celebration. I was just going through his Dr. Kalam's Twitter account, and it can see that now it has been renamed in memory of Dr. Kalam, and it's actually being celebrated. His works, his teachings, all of that is being celebrated at this moment. Is that going to be the legacy of the people's president?
Well, wouldn't it be, Sanket? And why shouldn't a life like this be celebrated? Dr. Kalam lived a long, fruitful life. He gave so much to the people of this country. He got so much back. Look at the kind of love that he's got back from the people. He went with what he was doing best. He was teaching in Shillong, and that is when he did go. So why wouldn't a life, an 83-year-old life, be celebrated in this way? And that is what most people that we spoke to are coming out and saying the same. Because, you know, we've been here, we've been talking to people who've come to pay their final respects. And we didn't really see so many tears. We just saw a fair bit of joy, and joy in terms of, and when we say joy, in terms of people just coming out and verbalizing the life that this man had lived, and how it needs to be celebrated, and how the legacy needs to be carried on. And you know, that's what's happening with the Twitter account. The Twitter account of Dr. Kalam will now be handled by his fans, and like you said, now it's in memory of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. And there's a memory that will leave an indelible mark on the people of this country, because Dr. Kalam has been a president that India has not had in a very, very long time. The kind of connect that he made to the people, he was actually like a mass leader. You know, we were actually talking to these group of students who had come in, yesterday, and they actually said he would have made a great politician. If Dr. Kalam had ever entered politics, we would have voted for him, because the kind of connect he showed to the people, the humility that he showed, the kind of life he led. And you know, we've been speaking to the people when he was in office as president, who actually, his staff, and every time all of them said that he never made any demands. We never even knew that we were actually, taking care of the president, because there were no demands which were ever made. He led an extremely Spartan lifestyle. So all of this together has touched a chord with the people of this country, more so because he was a president who went out of his way to involve the people there. So that's the legacy that he leaves, Sanket, and that is what is going to be celebrated, and that is what is going to be remembered by this country.
Now, what else to expect through the course of the day, Preeti? If you could just tell us a little about what else is going to happen. This IAF aircraft is going to go to Madurai, and then what happens?
Well, you know, Sanket, right now it's as per protocol. Just about, a few minutes before 7 a.m. right here, that's the facade where his mortal remains were kept of Dr. Kalam. Right from here in a gun carriage, the final remains of the former president were escorted right to Palam airport. You can see that Indian Air Force aircraft. Now, exact timing, well, we've been given 7:45. 7:45 is when the plane takes off from here, Madurai. After Madurai, at about, the body of Dr. Kalam would be flown by a helicopter, an Indian Air Force helicopter, to Rameshwaram, his hometown. That is where the family of Dr. Kalam has requested that the final rites of the former president be carried out. Well, then through the course of the day today, Sanket, people would be coming in just to pay their final, to final goodbyes, whatever they have to, just want to come pay their final respects. So people would be coming in through the course of the day. And we've seen, like in Delhi here, we've seen kilometer-long lines. Well, that is what is expected. And then, of course, tomorrow, the mortal remains would be laid to rest in a ceremony at 11 a.m. That is when the funeral would take place at 11 a.m. Would be attended by the Prime Minister, the President, and, over chief ministers of over 10 states is what we're getting to know now.
Okay. Okay, Preeti Chaudhary, thank you very much for joining us at this moment. It's time for a short break once again. When we come back, we'll return to these pictures. 7:45 a.m. is when this Indian Air Force aircraft is expected to leave the Palam Technical Air Base. It'll take a while before it reaches Madurai. Madurai is among the southernmost tip of this country. So it is going to take some time for the plane to actually reach there, and then further south to Rameshwaram, which is almost the last point or the last tip of the country. That's where the mortal remains will be taken. There will be people who will pay their tribute to the mortal remains of former President Kalam, and then after that his funeral procession will in fact take place. Let's take a short break at this moment and we'll come back to these pictures. Welcome back. Going back to those pictures coming in from the Palam Technical Air Base, where you can see that the members of the Indian Air Force, the members of the Defence Forces, as well as senior members of the Narendra Modi cabinet, all of them are gathered. The mortal remains of former President Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam are expected to reach there any minute now. In just a short moment, this plane is expected to take off. Full state honors being given to a life which is both being mourned as well as celebrated. Preeti Chaudhary, that's really the most apt way of describing the life of Dr. Kalam, isn't it? The fact that his death is being mourned, but the life is being celebrated. Okay, we'll try going across to Preeti Chaudhary in just a short moment from now. These are pictures, as we told you, from the Palam Technical Air Base. In just a short while from now, the mortal remains will be flown to Madurai, and from there it will be taken to Rameshwaram, the native town of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Now, through the course of yesterday and today, we have been showing you various stories of how Dr. Kalam was able to touch and influence so many lives. For instance, a restaurant in Kerala, in Thiruvananthapuram, where he, after becoming president also, always used to go for his meals. Then his school, the Schwartz School, where he used to visit. Also stories and tales that most of the reporters have had to share. We have had a situation where, okay, now we can see that truck is now pulling in, which has the mortal remains of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. It's now coming close to that big aircraft, which is Indian Air Force aircraft, which is now going to take his mortal remains to Madurai. Preeti, you were there at 10 Rajaji Marg. You're still there. What was the mood like? Very somber mood here at the Palam Technical Air Base. Of course, you don't see people crying and weeping. I feel that must be the same situation there at 10 Rajaji Marg. But obviously, people are feeling for the fact that this is a loss. This is a major loss.
It's a major loss, yes, Sanket. Let me tell you one thing. When we came in, with what we've been reporting and what we were told, that the final remains of Dr. Kalam would have been taken from right here at the Rajaji Marg, this is where his residence is, would have been taken at about 7:10 this morning. Right before that, however, the gun carriage escorted by the military, by the Jawans, was taken at about 5 to 7. And the reason why I'm emphasizing on this is because at about 7 o'clock we saw 2 buses pull up with children in it. All of them extremely happy, just wanting to come and pay their final respects. Of course, they were not allowed inside because today there was, the people were not allowed to pay their final respects, and we were talking to them. And the first thing that they said is, and they're children, starting from 14 to 18 years old, and all of them just said one thing, and they're like, we don't want to mourn the death of Dr. Kalam. He's lived a long life. He's lived a happy life. He's given a lot in that life. We want to celebrate it and maybe carry forth the legacy that he has lived. So that was the kind of sentiment that we picked up from here. We tried to talk to the men who had come in, for the garden of honor as well, and who were escorting the mortal remains. And all of them remembered Dr. Kalam. All of them had a fond memory of Dr. Kalam. So yes, there's a sense of mourning. There's a sense of abject loss that you've lost such a stalwart like him. Somebody who, once again, all the cliches fall short when you describe him. At one end, he was humble, Spartan, down to earth, and on the other, look at the kind of indelible mark that he's left on the people of this country, a larger-than-life figure who was the President of India.
Absolutely, Preeti, and he has left this country and the world with a number of quotable quotes, something that people, something that forces people to take notice. Oh yes, this too is true, when he says things like, you have to dream before your dreams can come true. Excellence is a continuous process and not an accident. Life is a difficult game. You can win it only by retaining your birthright to be a person. That's, these are just, some of the many quotes that he would just read out or just randomly say without even perhaps realizing, or maybe perhaps realizing that, there are a lot of people following this.
Well, you're right. Sanket, my favorite quote has been that dreams, you don't dream when you sleep, dreams don't let you sleep. And that's something for anyone who is young, who has fire in their belly, who wants to go out there and do something big. When the president of the country talks to you, which is the people and especially the young, and looks at you and says that, well, it completely transforms you as a person as well and makes you want to do that better. So that's the kind of connect he had. And like you had your favorite moment with Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, I had mine because I heard him say that at a press conference a year later after he left, he demitted office. And that is something, it is for a 17-year-old, for an 18-year-old, for a 16-year-old all across the country, and that is what is echoing today. That has stuck, Sanket. Those quotes like that has stuck, because ultimately this man was the president of this country, but he was a teacher. And that's what he did right till the very end. And look what he's taught this country. He's made them come together at this point of time, not in abject grief, not in celebration, but come together to recognize what a moment that this is, because somewhere down the line, when we recall over the years, go down the annals of Indian history where presidents were concerned, Dr. Kalam was no ordinary man.
Absolutely, and that favorite quote that you were talking about, I'm reading it now. It says, dream is not that which you see while sleeping, it is something that does not let you sleep. That's perhaps what you were actually referring to.
Yes. Well, you're right there. So that, that was that's what he said. And that's, for somebody who's young, somebody who's 15, 16, 17, fire in the belly, wants to go out there and do something big, hear that from their president, well, you're pretty much, you've got inspiration.
But I just hope that, Preeti, I don't know, I mean, if you could tell us a little more about, you're out reporting, you see a lot of people. It's one thing to like someone's quotes, and it's quite another to actually implement it or try to implement it in your life, because you may talk about these quotes being very nice, very motivational, but then, is it actually implemented? Well, Preeti, before I come across to you, let's quickly go across again to Palam Technical Air Base. There's a function, there's a ceremony that's going on over there. Let's listen in. What you see on your screen right now is a Tri-Services Guard of Honor. The mortal remains have been put on top of that aircraft, which will now fly to Madurai, and then the final remains will in fact be taken to Rameshwaram, his native hometown. So that Guard of Honor by the Army, Navy and Air Force is now over. Senior members of the NDA cabinet were also present there as part of protocol. The ceremony now draws to a close. You can see that that particular opening in the plane is now shutting down, which means that the plane will take off any minute now. Preeti Chaudhary is still with us. Preeti, if you could tell us what to expect, through the course of the day now that this plane is on its way to Madurai.
Well, from Madurai, Sanket, to tell our viewers, in an Indian Air Force helicopter, the mortal remains of Dr. Kalam would be taken to Rameshwaram, his hometown. Then they would be open for public to come and pay their final respects, for family to do so. Our correspondents who are reporting from Rameshwaram have constantly said that when they've been speaking to the family had only one wish, which was that the final rites be done at Rameshwaram, the hometown of Dr. Kalam. They also said that the government and the people of this country have given so much to Dr. Kalam and to them that they want nothing else from the government but just the final rites be conducted at Rameshwaram. So till about the course of the evening, people, friends, family, and more than anything else, the people who want to come and pay their final respects would be able to do so today, while tomorrow the funeral would be conducted at 11 a.m. at Rameshwaram with full state honors, state and military honors at 11 a.m. as per protocol. What we are expecting, dignitaries, even the Prime Minister, Chief Ministers of over 10 states to come down and attend the final rites of Dr. Abdul Kalam, as his mortal remains would be laid to rest at 11 a.m. tomorrow. So that's what we are expecting, Sanket. We do have our correspondents reporting from Rameshwaram as well, because what we do know that there are a lot of people who have, made that effort to travel all the way to Rameshwaram, because Rameshwaram is not in the way for, a lot of people. It's right at the end of this country. So what we saw in the national capital, people coming in from Haryana, from Punjab, coming to pay their final respects. We are expecting that to happen where the south is concerned through the course of the day, when his mortal remains would be open for the public to come and pay their final respects.
Well, that's also the life of this. That's also the life of this person, Preeti. The fact that he used to never shy away from going to the back of beyond of this country, and that is why perhaps he's among the very few people wherever you go in this country, and people will know who he is, because he used to take that effort to know how the country is.
And what bigger testimony, Sanket, of that? Look at the man.
Preeti, let's quickly listen to Venkaiah Naidu, who's speaking at this moment.
Shillong, yes.
रामेश्वरम में उनका घर में ले जाएंगे, बाद में जनता का दर्शन के लिए रखेंगे, और कल सुबह उनका अंत्यक्रिया होगा। उसके बाद हम लोग वापस आएंगे।
अंत्येष्टि में कौन-कौन लोग, प्रधानमंत्री के अलावा और कौन-कौन लोग एक्सपेक्टेड?
मालूम नहीं, प्रधानमंत्री आ रहे, इतना मालूम है, कुछ मुख्यमंत्री लोग भी आना चाहिए।
कैबिनेट मिनिस्टर्स में आप दोनों जा रहे हैं, और
दोनों जा रहे हैं, और
पार्लियामेंट साहब ग्रेट लॉस टू द नेशन।
Absolutely. Loss to nation and the world.
All right, so Venkaiah Naidu and Manohar Parrikar, they're confirming that the Prime Minister will be going to